Good morning all of you. Welcome back to our platform. Today I will talk about computer. My topic belong to class 9. Today we will discuss about chapter number 1 and the name of chapter is communication cycle. Today we will discuss about the barrier to effective communication. So let's start. In our previous video we also talk about barrier to effective communication, in which we will understand the barriers that affect on effective communication Today we will also take a quick revise of that. After that we will discuss about some point that affect our communication process. Barriers to effective communication is any factor, individual, situation, environment prevents receiver from receiving and understanding message accurately. Means that there are some conditions by which a receiver cannot understand a message properly. There are some conditions by which a receiver cannot understand a message properly. They do not take a message accurately. That are known as a barriers to effective communication. There are some conditions by which a receiver cannot receive a message properly, correctly. This is known as a barriers of effective communication, and this barrier can leads to misunderstanding and confusion between us or receiver, and these type of barrier may be create confusion between us and our receiver. They also create a misunderstanding between us or receiver. So one by one we will understand these type of barriers. Let's talk about the first barrier. First is environment barrier. These are the physical conditions that affected the communication process. There are some physical conditions that affect the communication process, like defective instrument, poor lighting, uncomfortable seating arrangement, and unhygiene conditions. There are some physical conditions that disturb the communication process, that disturb a receiver to receive message correctly. So these are the things that is come in the environment barrier, and the example for that: poor lighting, defective instrument, uncomfortable seating arrangement, and unhygiene condition. These are the barriers that has come into the environment barrier. These are the physical condition that by which a receiver cannot receive a message properly. Any physical condition has come in the environment barrier, by which a receiver cannot understand a message properly. Next is situation barrier. The factor like distance, noise, distractions cause the unnecessary disturbance. Some factor, they may be distance, they may be noise, by which a student disturb, a receiver disturb, and they do not understand a message properly. They do not understand message correctly. This is known as a situation barrier. And for example, loud music, noise from the generator and the other machine. There are some factors by which a receiver cannot receive message properly. These factors are noise, loud music, disturbance. These are the things has been come in the situation barriers, by which a receiver cannot receive message properly. Again I am repeating the definition. Some situation like distance, noise, distractions, they create unnecessary disturbance in the communication process. Sometime when we communicate there are noise, so we may be disturbed. We will disturb from that types of noise. These has been come in the situation barriers. Now come to the next point. Individual barriers. There are following individual barriers. We will talk one by one. First is attitudinal factor like age, gender, lack of interest, discomfort. with the topic culture, social, economic, professional status define how a listener perceive and interpret the message. They are different age people, they have a different interest, they have a different social and economic background, and it depends to the receiver how our receiver take our message, how a receiver understand our message. This all things depend on receiver, because every receiver have a different interest, different social and economic background, and it depend on these type of situation how a listener, how a receiver take our message, how a receiver understand our message. These are the things that also play an important role to understanding a message correctly. Next is linguistic ability. Speech disorder or physical disability can be distort the communication process. Addition, lack of proficiency in language affected the interpretation of messages as well. Means that there are some physical speech disorder, there maybe there is speaking disorder by which a receiver cannot receive a message correctly, and there should be a profession proficiency, otherwise a receiver cannot understand our message correctly. Now come to the next point. In attention, suppose that a listener do not want to listen our message, they do not have any interest of conversation, then they also cannot receive our message correctly. If a listener is preoccupied, means that they are preoccupied and they do not have interest in conversation, so they will likely to be not attentive. Means that they are preoccupied, they do not have interest, so they will not be attentive, and by which they cannot be take proper part in the communication process. Emotional status. Emotions of a sender at a time of encoding message may result in the uses of wrong word or tone. Means that it depend on the emotion. Suppose that emotion wise a sender is not proper, then he will not use a proper word or proper tone, but emotion wise he is proper, then he will use a correct word. So the emotion of a sender and the emotion of receiver, how he will interpret the message, then is very important factor for receiving and understanding the message. Both emotion, either it sender emotion, either a receiver emotion, is the most important thing. How a message has been sent, how a message has been understand, both is the important person to play an important role in a communication process. These are the things we have to understand in this chapter. This chapter has been finished. In next video we will understand about the next chapter. If you understand anything in this video, you can like it, you can share it, and you can subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching my video.